Unit 1. Focus on Chronology. Chapter 2. Pompeii. Destroyed, Forgotten, and Found. Part 2. Listening. Page 10. A. Initial listening. Now, let's listen to a talk about the destroyed city of Pompeii. It may help you to concentrate on the talk if you close your eyes while you listen. Just relax and listen carefully.
Today, many people who live in large metropolitan areas, such as Paris and New York, leave the city in the summer. They go to the mountains or to the seashore to escape the city noise and heat. Over 2,000 years ago, many rich Romans did the same thing. They left the city of Rome in the summer. Many of these wealthy Romans spent their summers in the city of Pompeii. Pompeii was a beautiful city. It was located on the ocean on the Bay of Naples. In the year 79 CE, a young Roman boy who later became a very famous Roman historian was visiting his uncle in Pompeii. The boy's name was Pliny the Younger. And one day, Pliny was looking up at the sky. He saw a frightening sight. It was a very large, dark cloud. This black cloud rose high into the sky. Rock and ash flew through the air. What Pliny saw was the eruption, the explosion of the volcano Vesuvius. The city of Pompeii was at the foot of Mount Vesuvius. When the volcano first erupted, many people were able to flee the city and to escape death. In fact, 18,000 people escaped the terrible disaster. Unfortunately, there was not enough time for everyone to escape. More than 2,000 people died. These unlucky people were buried alive under the volcanic ash. The eruption lasted for about 3 days. When the eruption was over, Pompeii was buried under 20 feet of volcanic rock and ash. The city of Pompeii was buried and forgotten for 1,700 years. In the year 1748, an Italian farmer was digging on his farm. As he was digging, he uncovered a part of a wall of the ancient city of Pompeii. Soon archaeologists began to excavate, to dig in the area. As time went by, much of the ancient city of Pompeii was uncovered. Today, tourists from all over the world come to see the ruins of the famous city of Pompeii.
B. Mental rehearsal and review of the talk. All right, let's listen to the talk once again. This time, the talk will be given in message units. Please repeat each unit to yourself silently. Remember, don't say the units out loud.
2,000 years ago, many Romans left Rome in the summer. Many of these wealthy Romans spent their summer in Pompeii. Pompeii was located on the Bay of Naples. In 79 CE, a young Roman boy was visiting his uncle in Pompeii. One day, Pliny saw a frightening sight. He saw a very large, dark cloud. This cloud rose high into the sky. Pliny saw the eruption of Vesuvius. Pompeii was at the foot of Vesuvius. Many people were able to flee the city. 18,000 people escaped death. more than 2,000 people died. They were buried alive under the volcanic ash. The eruption lasted for about 3 days. Pompeii was buried under 20 feet of volcanic rock and ash. Pompeii was forgotten for 1,700 years. In 1748, an Italian farmer uncovered a part of Pompeii. Archaeologists began to excavate in the area. As time went by, much of the ancient city of Pompeii was uncovered. Today, tourists come from all over the world to see the ruins of Pompeii.
C. Consolidation. You will hear the talk given once again. This time, as you listen, take notes on what you hear.
Today, many people who live in large cities such as Paris and New York leave the city in the summer. They go to the mountains or to the seashore to escape the city noise and heat. Over 2,000 years ago, rich Romans did the exact same thing. They left the city of Rome in the summer. Many of these wealthy Romans spent their summers in the city of Pompeii. Pompeii was a beautiful city, and it was located right on the ocean, on the Bay of Naples. In the year 79 CE, a young Roman boy, who later became a famous Roman historian, was visiting his uncle in Pompeii. The boy's name was Pliny the Younger. So one day, Pliny was looking up at the sky. He saw something that frightened him. He saw a very large, dark cloud. This black cloud rose high into the sky. Rock and ash flew through the air. What Pliny was seeing was the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, the volcano. The city of Pompeii was located at the foot of Mount Vesuvius. When the volcano first began to erupt, many people were able to escape from the city. In fact, 18,000 people escaped the terrible disaster. Unfortunately, though, there was not enough time for everyone to escape. Over 2,000 people died. These poor people were buried alive under the volcanic ash. And the eruption lasted for about 3 days. And when the eruption was over, Pompeii was buried under 20 feet of volcanic rock and ash. Thus, the city of Pompeii was buried and forgotten for the next 1,700 years. And then, in the year 1748, an Italian farmer was digging on his farm. As he was digging, he uncovered a part of a wall of the ancient city of Pompeii. So soon archaeologists came to excavate in the area. As they continued to dig, they were able to uncover much of the ancient city of Pompeii. Today, tourists from all over the world go to see the ruins of the famous city of Pompeii.
Part 3. Post-listening. A. The comprehension check. Page 10. 1. Recognizing information and checking accuracy. You will hear 5 questions about the story. Listen to each question and then write the correct answer to each question in the space provided. Write short answers.
1. At what time of the year did wealthy Romans like to visit Pompeii? Two. In what year did Pliny pay a visit to his uncle's house in Pompeii? 3. What did Pliny see when he was looking out over the Bay of Naples one day? 4. Where was Pompeii located in relation to Mount Vesuvius? 5. When did an Italian farmer discover a part of an ancient wall of Pompeii?
For questions 6 through 11, you will hear statements about the destruction of Pompeii. If the statement is true, put a T on the line next to the number of the statement. If the statement is false, put an F on the line and explain why the statement is false.
6. Rome was located at the foot of Mount Vesuvius. 7. Most of the people of Pompeii were able to flee the city and to escape death. 8. Pompeii was buried under 2 feet of volcanic ash. 9. Pompeii lay buried and forgotten between 79 CE and 1748. 10. The Italian farmer was looking for the ancient city of Pompeii. 11. Tourists came to excavate the city of Pompeii.
'B. The listening expansion. Page 11. Task 1. Listening for sequence identification. You will hear 2 sentences, a pair of sentences. Listen carefully and decide if the sentences are given in the correct time sequence. After you listen to each pair of sentences, write yes in the space provided if the sentences are in the correct time sequence. Write no if the sentences are not in the correct time sequence. Listen to the following 2 examples. Example 1. John graduated from high school in the spring. He went to college in the fall. These 2 sentences are in the correct time sequence. The event in the first sentence happened before the event in the second sentence. Write yes next to example 1. Example 2. He took the final examination on Friday. John studied very hard on Saturday for his final examination. These sentences are not in the correct time sequence. Write no next to example 2. Are you ready? The following pairs of sentences are from the story about Pompeii. Think about the time sequence in the story.
1. Pliny went to Pompeii. The volcano erupted. 2. The city was covered with 20 feet of ash. A dark cloud rose high in the sky. 3. A farmer discovered part of a buried wall. Archaeologists began to excavate the ancient city of Pompeii. 4. A large dark cloud rose high in the sky. People fled from the city. 5. You learned how many people were killed at Pompeii. You heard the story of the city of Pompeii.
Task 2. Listening to complete and use a chart. You're going to complete the following chart about famous volcanoes. Listen to the short lecture and be ready to fill in the information. Follow the instructions in the lecture. At first, you will just listen and look at the chart. I will tell you when to begin to write the information in the blank spaces on the chart. Are you ready?
The eruption of Mount Vesuvius was probably the most famous eruption in history. However, the eruption of Mount Vesuvius did not kill the most people of any volcanic eruption. Let's compare Mount Vesuvius with some other famous volcanoes. In your book, there is a chart with the names of 6 volcanoes. The chart tells you the name of the volcanic mountain, where it is located, the date of an eruption, and the approximate number of people who died in the eruption. Look at Mount Vesuvius on the chart. This volcano is located in Italy. It erupted in 79 CE. Approximately 2,000 people died in the eruption. Now let's fill in the missing information. The information not on the chart. For the other volcanic mountains. Are you ready to write in the information and complete the chart? Okay. Let's begin with the next mountain on the chart, Cotopaxi. It is located in Ecuador. It erupted in 1877, and about 1,000 people died. Write the number 1,000 in the correct place. Now look at Krakatoa. It is located in Indonesia. It erupted in 1883 and killed about 36,000 people. Write the year 1883 in the correct place. Now let's complete the information for Mont Pelée, located in Martinique. It erupted in 1902, killing 38,000 people. Did you write 38,000 in the correct place? Okay. Next, fill in the blank for Mount St. Helens in Washington State in the United States. It erupted in 1980 and 60 people were killed. Did you write 60 in the correct space? Finally, let's complete the chart for Mount Tambora in Indonesia. It erupted in 1815, killing 12,000 people. 12,000 people died in 1815. Now your chart should be complete.
Listening factoid number 1. Can a volcano shoot down a plane? Listen to this strange happening.
In 1951, an Australian pilot prevented his plane from being shot down by flak from a volcano. The plane was flying over a volcano in Papua New Guinea when the volcano suddenly erupted. It sent ash and flak 36,000 feet into the air. Bits of stone pounded against the plane's wings and fuselage. But the pilot kept control and flew the plane to safety. Incidentally, almost 3,000 people on the ground died as a result of the eruption of this volcano.
Listening factoid number 2. In his famous letters, Pliny the Younger writes about the death of his uncle who died during the eruption of Mount Vesuvius. Listen to what happened to the boy's uncle and mentor.
Pliny the Younger saw the eruption of Mount Vesuvius from a distance. On the day of the eruption, the boy's uncle, Pliny the Elder, was in command of a Roman fleet, which was not far off the shore of Pompeii. On seeing the remarkable eruption of Mount Vesuvius, Pliny the Elder, who was a great naturalist, sailed to shore to take a look at the eruption of the mountain. On his approach to the shore, he was met by a shower of hot cinders, which grew thicker and hotter as he advanced. He finally landed on the shore and went to a house away from the beach. He even went to sleep. But later in the night, the servants woke him up. By then, the house had begun to rock so violently that Pliny and everyone in his household left the house and went toward the beach to escape. Tying pillowcases on their heads and using torches to light the way, they groped their way to the beach. But it was too late for Pliny the Elder. Apparently, he became tired and lay down on the ground to rest. But when he lay down on the ground, he died. His death was probably due to carbon dioxide poisoning. Since CO2 is heavier than air, it hugs the ground and makes it impossible to breathe when one is close to the ground. It is likely that others in the area also died of carbon dioxide poisoning if they lay down to rest on the ground below Mount Vesuvius.